problem. Is there a sustainable business model for servant leadership? And can we make it work within our workplace? Can we create a culture of improvement to make things faster, to make them more effective and more efficient? Well, here are the 10 characteristics of servant leadership according to the Greenleaf Association. Now, if you search the internet or some of the documents and the books that I put up here, you're going to find some variances to the list. But in general, the accepted idea is that these 10 characteristics represent the definition of servant leadership. Listening, empathy, healing, awareness, persuasion, conceptualization, foresight, stewardship, a commitment to the growth of people, and building community. Well, here's an interesting statistic. We're going to start growing this overt benefit for having servant leadership as your model. Out of the 100 best places to work survey, is everybody familiar with that survey? Okay. Over a third of those companies say that they're servant-led. That's a pretty significant number. Local examples of servant-led companies are Southwest Airlines, TD Industries, and Celebration Restaurant. And there are many more, but those are the ones that people know and whose names come to mind when you think of servant leadership. So here's the question: is there a business case for this? Well, I did some research. Here are publicly held companies that proclaimed that they were servant leaders and where they are and what kind of industries they're in. You can see it's a fairly diverse group. Nothing particular stands out about it. Here are profit-based, their literature reported. In other words, their owners or leaderships aren't standing up saying we're servant-led, but by example and the way they run their business, everyone in the literature believes that they're servant-led companies. They lead by example rather than by voice. So the evidence suggests that there are some comparisons. So let's look at these publicly held companies and look at their performance from 2001 to 2006. And you notice that almost all of them have an increase. These are servant-led companies that are publicly held. Typically, these companies remain strong today, although we've all been through some tough economic times. We discovered that the manufacturers among them actually outperform the others, and that today the S&P has dropped over 17%, while these companies remain relatively stable. Now that's pretty good news for me and anyone else in business that says, gee, if you've got a servant-led company, you might survive things better than anybody else. I've been doing research now for 2 years trying to prove or disprove this statement. I've never known of a servant-led company that went bankrupt. I have yet to be able to disprove the statement, but it seems so dramatic and so improbable that I hesitate to make it a statement of fact.